Hello and welcome to Hebrew Perspectives, and it's time for another lesson on building character. You may kind of notice that it seems kind of haphazard at first, and we are bringing these across. But today I'm going to let you kind of narrow things down for you so that you can see, so we have a direction in where we're going and in what we're doing and what we're talking about, so you have a better understanding on where we go from here. Remember, as I've said, you become a believer, and then a lot of times you're lost in the crowd. And this is why, if you think about it, this is why it was so much better when people just went house to house and broke bread together in small groups. That way they weren't lost in the sea of what's, or in the crowd, so to speak. There was more attention given to the convert, given to the new disciple, bringing them in and leading them in the way that they should go. Otherwise, what happens is then they end up, you get kind of lost and confused, and then they start feeling condemnation, and then they don't know where to go, and next thing you know, they slip out the door and nobody knows where they went. And so this is why we're doing these videos. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about knowing God, and we're going to talk about the 13 attributes, and then from here we're going to dive into those 13 attributes. And as basically the 13 attributes of mercy are it's how God conducts the world. So when after the sin of the golden calf, Moses goes up to heaven and he petitions God and beseeches him for mercy for the children of Israel for 40 days. Now, this is interesting because when you read that portion of scripture, when we get to it later on, we'll dive more into it. It's kind of interesting that for 40 days he's there and he neither eats nor drinks. Why? Because when you're in heaven, you don't need to eat or drink. So yes, that's how we know that Moses was in heaven, so to speak. But it was on that 40th day and that day was Yom Kippur, that God answered that prayer, and he gave Moses divine favor. And Moses, he's the opportunistic teacher that he is. He asked God for more. When you're that close to God, when you're getting to know God, you're going to want to know more. And that's what it is. We're wanting to know more of God. We're wanting more education, and that's going to help us along. So Moses prayed for a revelation of who God is. He said, please reveal to me your glory. And he prayed for a revelation, and he got the 13 attributes of mercy of what God uses to run the world. And when he asked, he said, please reveal to me your way. And so God answered these prayers. He answered these requests. And as far as the revelation goes, you have to understand that at that time, God he told him, you can't see my face and live. But he did give him, when he hides him in the cleft of the rock, he gives him a hint. And that cleft, where he hides him, that cleft has the same numerical value as Messiah. So he hinted to Messiah that what he was going to be doing and redeeming eventually, how he's going to robe himself in flesh. But we'll get more into that when we get into that portion of scripture. Now, to his other request, God replied, I will show you all of my attributes of mercy, all of God's goodness, and I'm going to call out my divine name before you. This is where he gets that. And so with this, God revealed to Moses the 13 attributes, of which we will go into more, and how he conducts the world. Remember, when we're emulating God, we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be showing the same kind of mercy that God shows. Now, when Moses says, please reveal to me your way, and I will know you, so that I may find favor in your eyes. So here Moses was looking for God's favor, and that's what we're looking for also. We want his favor. We want to get close to him and win his favor. And how do we do that? We do that by getting to know him and doing these 13 attributes of mercy. He said, reveal to me your ways, then I will know you. And finally, so that I may find favor in your eyes. So the Rambam, he explains that God knows who has favor in his eyes. It's not necessarily the person who can pray long prayers or the person that can do a 39-day fast. It's not necessarily those people. He draws close to those that know him. Okay, and through these attributes of mercy, these 13 attributes, that's where you get to know him. So if you don't draw close to him and you're not favored by him, you're basically going further away from him and you're becoming spurned by him. So according to your degree of knowledge, or according to your ignorance, is the degree of what kind of favor or what kind of disdain you may have from God. Now, I know disdain seems like kind of a rough word, but you have to understand that if you don't want anything to do with God, he's not going to have anything to do with you. He's going to let you go about your way and do about your business. That's the interesting thing. We talked about this in one of the other videos, is that God created you with the ability to deny he exists. In essence, that's mercy too. Really, it is. He allows people to sin, but yet he is long-suffering, and he longs for that point where you perform teshuvah and you come back. So, however, knowledge is not enough. Okay, we learn these things. We're teaching, we're doing these videos, and so that we understand. But we also have to understand that knowledge is not enough. Knowledge is basically, it's valued by how much we take that knowledge and we transfer it into good deeds, right. Doing things for God, emulating God in his 13 attributes of mercy. And so the prophets, they said, just as he is merciful and gracious, so must you be merciful and gracious. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So we'll get into more of those details as we cover the 13 attributes of mercy. Stay with us. There's more to come. Remember to subscribe. Remember to click that little bell. Remember to go to Hebrew Perspectives Facebook page. Go to the About section. If you want to support this ministry, you can do it by doing that. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.